Hello, my name is Adolfo Neto, and I'm here today to read with you this text. It's no, AI is not making engineers 10 times as productive. I got to know the existence of this text via Ed Zitro. He has a great blog and podcast called Better Offline. And he wrote, "This is the single best piece I've read on replacing coders with AI. It fully dispels the myth from the perspective of a software engineer and does so in a calm, reasonable way." So, how long is this? Oh, it's very long. I'll try to read as much as I can. I'm just going to change the format here, increase the font. Okay, much better now. Oh, let me do this. Yes. So who is writing this? Is Colton Voege, principal engineer at Beacons, LinkedIn. Okay. It's his second blog post. No, AI is not making engineers 10 times as productive. Curing your AI 10 times engineer imposter syndrome. A few months ago, I went through a bit of a mental slump. I've always been confident of my abilities as an engineer, but I couldn't help but feel like my skills were falling hopeless behind as I scrolled places like LinkedIn and Twitter. If these sources were to be believed, engineering had moved on from the medieval practice of typing code into an editor. Real engineers were now 10 to 100 times more productive than I was. I'm writing this hoping to help others who are feeling similar anxieties. I'm a skeptical person, so I don't usually fall over myself immediately when I hear a claim like that. I usually roll my eyes in the same way I do when someone tells me a simple herbal remedy cures all disease. But the sheer volume of those 10 times engineer claims are reaching right now started to hit are a nerve. What if I'm wrong? Will I miss the buzz and become unemployable if I don't learn to use AI right now? After all, there are a lot of fancy words going around that distance the AI these people are talking about with the AI I was familiar with. These people were using agentic AI. They were using thinking models that surfed the internet, ran tests, and corrected their own mistakes. Sure, I popped into a chat window here and there and asked it to write some code. Then I promptly discarded most of the output once I got the idea that I needed. But these engineers were letting Claude fully take the wheel and had agents ripping 5 PRs for them while they made morning coffee. Was I becoming a dinosaur, an old man yelling at Cloud? Part of what made me feel so anxious was that it was entirely possible AI changed it without me knowing it because I didn't use AI very much, because I didn't like using AI that much. Reviewing code is vastly less enjoyable, is a is a vastly less enjoyable process than writing it. this is very important. Let me comment here. Reviewing code is vastly less enjoyable. I believe this is wrong, right? Reviewing code is a vastly less enjoyable process than writing it. And I believe this applies to many other activities that can be, between quotes, replaced by AI. Had my back to reading the text. Had my stubborn desire to enjoy coding set me up to be left behind? Diving in. Eventually, I hit a breaking point and decided I simply had to dive in headfirst to AI coding. I tried Cloud Code, Cursor, Rule Code, and Z for their agentic coding promises. I started asking AI to write all sorts of code in all sorts of projects. I tried the different models and compared them. I even vibe coded a few things, not editing the code manually once. And it was fine. Despite claims that AI today is improving at a fever pitch, it felt largely the same as before. It's good at writing boilerplate, especially in JavaScript and particularly in React. It's not good at keeping up with the standards and utilities of your code base. It tends to struggle with language like Terraform. It still hallucinates libraries, leading to significant security vulnerabilities. AI AIs still struggle to absorb the context of a larger code base, even with a great prompt and cloud.md file. If you use a library that isn't Stack Overflow's favorite, it will butcher it even after an agentic lookup of the documentation. Agents occasionally do something neat like fix the tests they broke. Often they just wait time and tokens, going back and forth with themselves, not seeming to gain any deeper knowledge until no any deeper knowledge each time they fail. Thus, AI's best use case for me remains writing one-off scripts. Let me comment here. I'm not a software developer, but yes, I have used AI for writing one-off scripts, and it was great. It, I didn't have to understand the code, but I could check the result easily, so it's great for that. Especially, let's go back to reading the text. Especially when I have no interest in learning deeper fundamentals for a single script, like when writing a custom ELS int ES linked rule. Dark warnings that if I didn't start using AI now, I'd be hopeless behind prove it. Oh, let me read again. Dark warnings that if I didn't start using AI now, I'd be hopeless behind proved unfounded. Using AI to code is not hard to learn. Obviously, well, the AI coding community seems split on whether AIs makes coding so easy a caveman can do it, or that it requires an advanced, dedicated prompt engineer skill set. There are a few things you need to learn, but they come quickly. You learn how to split up tasks into smaller pieces so that the AI doesn't lose its mind late in the context window. Tools like Cloud Code can do a bit of this themselves, even though not always reliably. And you learn to identify when the AI is too far off and it's time to take the wheel. A competent engineer will figure this stuff out in less than a week of moderate AI usage. Further, if AI is about to get 2 times, 10 times, or 100 times better at any minute, as everyone keeps saying it will, then any lessons about how to use it now are moot for the future. Wow, this is important because that's something that Valdemar Setter used to write about computers in education. People would say, oh no, we have to teach kids how to use computers. But you see, the computers from 20 years ago are very different from the computers nowadays. So it's useless to teach those things early. Back to the text. Every time I encountered AI working just okay, between quotes, just okay, it strangely made me more anxious, not less. It meant I couldn't find the spicy secret sauce that made everyone else so productive. I just didn't have what it takes. Dinosaur, meet asteroid, thy name is AI. A comment again. I feel like that too. Okay, I use it for some tasks, but doesn't change my life. Back to the text. Eventually, a few things shook me out of this slump. One of those was this article from Ludicity. Directly counter, which is the article? I can't read right now. Oh, yes, I can. Let me go. Contra the sex terrible article on AI. One of those was this article from Ludicity directly countering the claims of the AI pumpers. I write this article to share more things that helped me get out of the AI 10 times engineer imposter syndrome. Oh, this is a nice expression. AI 10 times engineer imposter syndrome. It's when you feel that you are not a 10 times engineer when you use AI. The math. Let's start by looking at the simple math of 10 to 100 times productivity. 10 times productivity means 10 times the outcomes, not 10 times the lines of code. This means what you used to ship in a quarter will now ship in a week and a half. These numbers should make even the truest AI believer pause. The amount of product ideation, story point negotiation, bug fixing, code review, waiting for deployments, testing, and QA in that go into what was traditionally 3 months of work. In, in that go into what was traditionally 3 months of work is now getting done in 7 work days. For that to happen, each and every one of these bottlenecks has to also sing have has to also sing have 10 times productivity gains. A little bit confusing, but I can get the point. So it's not only coding. The main point here is that software engineering is not only coding, and that tools like Cloud Code help you with coding. Any software engineer who has worked on actual code is in an actual company knows that this isn't possible. You can't compress the back and forth of 3 months of code review into 1.5 weeks. When you code review, you tag your reviewer, 2, hope they will get it sooner rather than later, which will be thought, tough because they are apparently code reviewing 10 times as much code as before. 3. Context switch to something else while you wait. 4. See a notification, perhaps immediately, perhaps 2 hours after a reviewer went offline for the day. 5. Context switch back to the review. 6. Read their comments. 7. Respond accordingly. 8. Rinse and repeat. This process can be made fairly efficient at a competent company with good standards and communication practices. But you're telling me you made this process 10 times as efficient to handle 10 times the work? This simply cannot be done. The human process involved in actual corporate software engineering have not changed significantly. Product managers might use ChatGPT to do, between quotes, research, but they aren't suddenly pumping out 10 times as many well vetted, well justified, well estimated stories as they did before. They cannot do 10 user interviews all at once. The same goes for designers and QA testers. Hiring 10 times the number of PMs to keep up isn't feasible. Each hire has diminishing returns as network effects and bureaucracy take hold. Even if we assume people mean only the actual code writing process is now 10 to 100 times faster, we should still be skeptical of how this maths out. When you write code, how much of your time do you truly spend pushing buttons on the keyboard? It's probably less than you think. Much of your prime coding time is actually reading and thinking, often for while waiting for compiling a page refresh or for a test to run. LLMs do not make Rust-C go faster. Rust-C is the Rust compiler. What LLMs produce is often broken, hallucinated, or below code-based standards. Often, are you sure? I'm not sure about that, but let's go back to the text. The frequency of these errors go up with the size of the code base. When that happens, you have to reprompt, which could instantly fix the problem or could be a huge waste of time. Or you can go in and fix the code yourself. But then you're back to measly one times one time engineer status. Perhaps worse, if you've gotten so used to vibe coding, you forgot how to code. If you are, between quotes, embracing the vibes and closing quotes, and not even looking at the code produced, you're simply going to hit a productivity wall once the code base gets large enough. And once you do, you have to reckon with the complete lack of standards and proper abstractions. Okay, this is very important for software engineering. Are those agentic AI coders following standards and proper abstractions, or are they just producing code that between quotes works? Let's go back to the text. I think sometimes people lose the scale of just how big a 10-time improvement is. 10 times is the difference between your minivan and a record-setting supersonic land jet. Imagine trying to drive your 10-minute commute down to your city streets in a car that goes 600 miles per hour. Will you get to the other side of town in 1/10 of the minute? No, because even a single 60-second stoplight will eat up your entire time budget. F1 cars slow down to minivan speeds in basic turns. It turns out that most of any activity is not spent going at top speed. 100 times productivity means you now do what used to be 1 year of work in 2 days. I shouldn't even need to touch the ludicrousness of numbers at that scale. Do 10 times engineers exist? This debate isn't something I want to weigh in on, but I might have to. My answer is sometimes, kinda. When I have had engineers who were 10 times as valuable as others, it was primarily due to their ability to prevent unnecessary work. Talking a PM down from a task that was no, talking a PM down to a task that was never feasible, getting another engineer to not build that unnecessary microservice, making developer experience investments that save everyone just a bit of time on every task, documenting your work so that every future engineer can jump in faster. These things can add up over time to one engineer saving 10 times the time company 10 times the time company wide than what they took to build it. Work of this nature is not always available, so great engineers will only find themselves being 10 times as productive in certain situations. At a certain point, every engineer just needs to build features, which a great engineer might do twice as fast as junior engineer. But they will still hit the same bottlenecks as before. Flawed as story points are, I've never seen an engineer actually complete 10 times as many as an average engineer consistently. Notably, AI coding assistants do very little to prevent unnecessary work. On the contrary, AI often seems to encourage hastiness and overbuilding. When I ask architectural questions, it often recommends something that I realize is not necessary. Oh, let me stop my. Oh, I'll have to finish this in a few minutes. Yes, I believe that's enough for this video. If someone it's getting very long, let me finish just this paragraph. When I ask architectural questions, it often recommends something that I realize is not necessary after a good night's sleep or a talk with a great engineer. All other things held the same. Is a faster coder a better engineer? Yes, but it's not the 10 times difference maker, and it's hard to hold everything else constant. The more you focus on pumping out tasks as fast as possible, the easier is to miss the important time savers that reduce total work. So, are the AI posters lying or what? Incentives matter, outright malice, degrees of separation, it's okay to be less productive, how to be a good AI leader. Conclusion. So, if you find this interesting, you should read the text. The link is below. There is no secret herbal medicine that prevents all disease sitting out in the open if you just follow the right Facebook groups. There's no AI coding revolution available if you just start vibing. You're not missing anything. Trust yourself, you are enough. Oh, and don't scroll LinkedIn or Twitter ever. That's it, folks. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Bye bye.